Stanky. You smell that? Hi, I'm Phil. Welcome to Pretty Good Cooking.
Pretty good.
Tonight on the show, I'm going to teach you how to make pickled eggs, which I've never had and I've never made. So I'm not going to teach you anything at all. Pickled eggs. Are they good? I don't know. But I am a big fan of hard-boiled eggs. And these are basically marinated hard-boiled eggs. So I say, what's not to like? I think that people think pickled eggs are gross because they don't like eggs. And adding pickle flavor to them, this might not improve them. But if you like eggs, it probably will improve them. I have done a little bit of movie magic. And I boiled some eggs ahead of time. I did it today. Now let me give you a pro tip. If you're gonna pickle your eggs and you need to know how many eggs gonna fit in that jar, just put them in the jar, as I've done here. For the dozen miscellaneous sized eggs that I had, they fit perfectly in a quart-sized jar. Neat. So, if you don't know how to hard-boiled eggs, we've got you covered. We filmed that episode. Maybe more than once. We're basically marinating eggs in a pickle brine for about a week. And there's lots of variations, which you can do, but the version I'm making is what sounds good to me. There's actually no, I didn't find a recipe that was like, yeah, that's the one. I actually saw a lot of recipes where I was like, ooh, no. Okay, let me also teach you something for your brain. Something for your brain, viewers. If you need to know, okay, so you've done the math, right? You've figured out this many eggs fit in this jar. Volumes. Stanky. If you need to know how much liquid gonna fit in that jar, use water to find out. If you water your eggs, then it's no problem, right? And just pour some of the water on the counter for good measure. Now I know I need approximately 300 milliliters, aka 1 1/4 Freedom Cups. Boom. All right. Now, get a pot and get some cheap white vinegar. And in this instance, we're gonna use 1 cup of vinegar and we'll dilute it a little bit with some water. I'm going for 1/2 cup of water. And to this add some salt. Probably like a teaspoon of salt would be fine. Almost all the recipes that I saw called for sugar. And that's very common for a lot of like pickling recipes, canning recipes. Particularly when it comes to vegetables. There was a time where they were putting sugar in everything. That doesn't appeal to me, so I'm skipping the sugar today. Go ahead, pour that into your pot. Spill some on the stove for good measure. Go ahead and turn the heat on. Now, if you like pickling spice, or if you have somehow found a pickling spice that's pre-made that you enjoy, go ahead and use that. I also don't really like pickling spice. I feel like a lot of times it has cloves and other things I don't want. So instead today, I'm gonna use some coriander seeds and I'm gonna throw in some of this Penzeys Sunny Paris blend, which is basically sour cream and onion blend, but has dill in it. In case you're wondering, that has shallot, chive, basil, tarragon, chervil, bay leaf, and dill weed. Neat. If you have mustard seeds, that's also a good addition. Then I always like to add some peppercorns to this kind of thing. And we'll bring that up to a simmer. All right. Now that you've put your eggs in the jar, remove them from the jar because we need to pack this jar. All right. So I got a couple cloves of garlic here, which I'm gonna smash. This is garlic from my garden, so it's got a nice spicy flavor. And I would say that 3 is probably excessive, and therefore it's the correct amount today. Just give it a rough chop, and go ahead and pop it in your jar. While we're at it, let's pop in a couple bay leaves. There's like 3 small ones. My brine, quick brine, I gave it a little shake. The salt's dissolved, it's simmering. We can go ahead and turn it off. And ideally we will let that cool, but maybe we won't, I don't know. All right, now I am going to add some onion to these pickled eggs so that we can maximize the how good this will make your breath smell. Onions and eggs, what a pair, a match made in heaven. And red onion is one of the things that you can add to pickle eggs to kind of turn them pink, which is fun. So apparently, another common thing would be to use pickled beets, and that'll really turn them pink. I picked just a couple of sprigs of dill, which actually has gone to seed, with the idea that I wanted to get some more dill flavor in there. It's from my garden. In an ideal world, I would have used more fresh dill, but this is all I got. So, in your jar, pop in about 3 eggs, and then drop a sprig of dill and a layer of onions, and repeat. I think my layering technique is going to compromise how many eggs we can fit in here. What if I just shove them in? Okay, well, yeah, the layering definitely caused a problem. I think that's fine. So this is 10 eggs. And we'll just snack on the other ones. But I am going to shove the rest of my onion in there. And since your eggs are already hard boiled, we don't really want to just throw hot brine directly in there. So we're going to let this cool for just a couple minutes. We will pour it into the jar, and then we're going to put it in the fridge for a week, which is also happens to correspond with how frequently we film. So we'll be back real soon. Raccoon. All right, in an ideal world, I would let this cool more, but we live in PGC time, so I'm impatient. I'm gonna take my brine, pour it into a measuring cup, because I find that to be something that's easier to pour. And you can see that the flavors have infused into the brine. So now, all we have to do is fill the jar up. Well, we don't have as many eggs in there as my initial measurement. And that's okay. So we almost filled all the way up. But if that's the case for you, again, because we're not really pickling or hard brining or anything like that, you can just top it off with water, slap a lid on it, give it a shake for good luck, right? And we will see how that tastes in a week. So this episode will resume in 1 week's time. Maybe I'll be wearing the same thing. I mean, odds are you might not even know. See you then. Oh, here's a transition of me turning around into next week. Ooh. It's been 1 week since you looked at me. I, through an incredible exercise of willpower, did not try the eggs for a whole week. So we're gonna wrap this episode up by doing that. The eggs look weird. They're pinkish because of the onions. Let's see what we're working with. Smells good. Smells like onions and vinegar. Okay, so my first impression is that the texture of the egg is different. It's almost like drier. I assume some of the liquid has been leached out. Let's go ahead and cut it open. So we have a cross section. Interesting. So the marinade did not go all the way through. I assume that's normal. But now, the only thing to do is to try it. That's good. That's really good. It has, vinegar and onion flavors, but it's not like overpowering. It actually reminds me a lot of the flavor profile of a deviled egg. I imagine this makes your breath smell awful, given the components, but I really like these. It's kind of like a more interesting hard-boiled egg, I suppose. It's not weird at all. The texture is slightly different, but not unpleasant. I think that one of the downsides to the hard-boiled eggs for some people is when they're soft. Some people don't like the texture, and this is definitely more firm. But yeah, I like that a lot. You wanna try, Kev? You wanna try a half one? I will also comment that normally I salt hard-boiled eggs when I eat them. There's enough salt content in this, I don't think it really needs it.
Yeah, tastes better than it smells.
Yeah, it doesn't smell great, but it tastes pretty good.
Do you like it better than a regular hard-boiled egg? Uh-oh.
Well, I don't think I do either. I mean, I really like regular hard-boiled eggs. It is good. It's something different.
I feel like that's what you eat at like your great aunt's family reunion when you're 7 years old and someone makes a plate for you and you're just like, what is this?
That's fair. It does taste like somewhat unfamiliar, I guess. But
that's good. It's good. Enough, salt and vinegar chips.
Yeah. Well, that's how we did it. Is that worth making? I don't know. Maybe you feel like really drunk or something. Maybe that would hit different. But today it did not hit differently. It just hit very normally. All right. That's it. Bye-bye.